Hello everyone, this is Shootin Vorchi here, bringing you a PPE build guide for Healer. This build is destined to change in the future as more sets are released. Without further ado, let's get into it. Most healers don't really know how to play Healer in WMM currently, but we're going to go over that right now. Healer is based off of a do mechanic. It's a very interesting mechanic to have with the healer. It is very important to know how to use it as a healer. So, Floating Grace is a 60-second cooldown skill, and it's an AoE burst healing skill, but it's also a 15% damage increase skill to you and your allies. You have to know when to use it and know when to not to use it. It's also a burst heal, so you have to time it. It's a very important skill to have up, but it's also a very important skill to know when to use it in certain boss fights. Next skill, 1,000 Plants. This is your main skill of generating dew. Like I said before, dew is a very important mechanic because it also is your main source of casting your big burst heals. Increase your healing by 15%, but also increases healing to yourself by 50%. Very important to have up and very important to know when to use it. Alright, Fan. Fan is a bit more complicated. Call out burst healing is a 20-second cooldown, generating 20 dew, but it also has a burst heal effect to it. So let me show you this real quick. Califan has a burst heal that you need dew to activate, but you also want to stand within this circle so you can get the dew over time. It's very important that you healers know this because if you just stand outside of it, you would never generate enough dew in time, whatever boss fight you're in, to cast the burst heal. Because remember, as a healer, you need dew to activate your burst heal. So it's very important that you guys know when to stand inside your circle so you can get that burst heal and the heal over time. Alright? Next up. Next skill. Light Dust or After Morning Rain. Costs 50 dew and it applies the heal over time to yourself and to the lowest HP ally. But it also raises the dead. You only get 5 of these within each raid, or 3 of them if you're just doing the boss fight. I'm pretty sure. It raises the dead, of course, pretty simple. Everybody should know what the skill does. But the heal over time, I don't really find myself using this skill very often. It costs you 50 dew to use, and the heal over time is not that big. I don't really find myself using it. This is just like one ally that's getting injured. I can just pop this on myself and heal him as well. I will say make this like your last priority skill to use. Because it's not an AoE heal, it's not a burst heal, it's a heal over time, and it applies it to you and the person with the lowest health. And it also costs you 50 dew to cast it. So I would say make that your last priority skill to cast. So make sure you just keep up the large heal over time. You're making sure you're using the buff and the one-time big heal with the umbrella. Remember, this is a damage increase, but also a big heal for your group. So make sure you making sure you know when to use that and when to know when to cast the damage increase. Also keeping your umbrella up 1,000 plants to generate dew over time, but also increases healing by 15%. This should be up almost the entire time. If it goes down, you recast it. But before you recast it, making sure you know when to use your burst heal. Yeah, as you can see, you can't cast your burst heal if your umbrella is in the air like that. So like I said, it's really important to know when to use your skill as a healer. Alright? Now with that is being said, you know how the do mechanic works. Let's get into the sets. The sets are pretty simple and it's very important to know how to use your set. 2-piece Rain Whisper, max health. 4th piece increases critical damage and healing by 10%, and further increases it by 15% when you have an HP shield active. I know what you're thinking. Where are you getting the HP shield from as a healer? I thought you was for an umbrella. Don't worry, we're gonna get into that. Next set, Eagle Eye set. 2-piece physical defense, Fourth piece, dealing damage over time, or healing grants one stack of Eagle Rise. Reduce your damage by 1.2% for 10 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. This effect, for the first part, it lasts the entire time. Remember that. We talked about this in my last video. Next up, reduce your damage taken for the next incoming damage by 90%. This is 60% during boss fights for 10 seconds, triggers once every 30 seconds. This is very good during boss fights, but I mostly use it for the first part of the set, the 1.2% damage decrease. Very good set to have. I highly recommend it. You can keep this up pretty much the entire time during boss fights. Alright, next up, Inner Way. Inner Way is pretty basic, but also you have some very good ones in here that you think you should know about. Starting off with Restoring Blossom. Dealing critical healing applies a stack of Naturing for 6 seconds, increasing healing received by 2%, stacking up to 3 times. Very important to have this. It's a must-have. I don't take anything off for this. You have to have this on your healer. Alright. Next up, Mending Loom. Casting Soul's Shade Umbrella special skill, Echoing Grove restores 5 dew, an additional 10% of your max HP for every 100 dew consumed. Must have as well. Increase your healing that you get, but also increase the healing that you get from the umbrella by 10%, which is why we have a lot of HP. So you kind of get out where this is going. You don't really have to heal yourself very much because you have so much healing already. Alright? Morale Chant. You should already know how this works. Physical penetration by 2. Increase healing by 1%. Stack up to 5 times. Pretty standard for most builds. I don't really take this off for anything. Bread and butter right here. Royal Remedy. Increases the healing effect of the water clone by 10. And it also generates 3 dew. Remember what I told you? When you're standing within that circle, you're generating dew. The dew mechanic on the healer is very important to know how to use it. You're generating so much dew that you have to know when to use your skills the right way. Alright? So, mythic skills now. You're only using 2 mythic skills here, which is the golden body. Oh, here's where the shield comes from. You're getting that 15% increased healing, but you're also getting the damage reduction. That's for 8 seconds. So for 8 seconds, you have the 15% increased healing. You're mostly going to be using this right before you have a raid-wide damage that you have to heal through. You should probably experience this within the recent raid that's been released. So proccing this before you start healing is going to help you a lot. Next up, Dragon's Breath. As I said before, this build doesn't really do any damage. You're mostly just healing and keeping everyone topped off. But when there's nothing to heal, what do? You price some DLTs, maybe do some light attacks, but you're mostly just healing and buffing your group and giving them the damage increase, as we said with the umbrella. So that's pretty much it, really. I went over the sets, I went over the method skills, went over the inner ways, we went over the dew mechanic. As I said before, it is very important that you know how to use the dew mechanic. But as always, if you have any questions or concerns, put them in the comments below, or my in-game name, Shooting Orochi. You can whisper me in-game, and we can kind of walk through it together. But it's been fun. See you guys around. Adios.